So I've received a lot of questions over the last few weeks about my Bambu Lab P2S printer. I did a video on the first 75 hours of printing. I've increased the amount of hours printing on this thing in the last few weeks already. But I wanted to go through some more learnings and some other things that I've printed, your first few prints that you should do for this printer, because I think that it's very valuable and it just makes the whole setup a whole lot easier. The first few things that I've done with this printer is I've just printed some upgrades to it. I did show in the last video these desiccant holders. I've actually gone and changed those now. If I open this up, and I'm going to ruin my humidity here, but you can see that I actually reprinted these with a different design. These are the original ones that I had, and these worked well, except the problem that when they were in there, you couldn't remove them while the filament was loaded. So you had to take these out to be able to get this out. So what I did was I found this design, and I'll link it below. You can easily take the back desiccant filter out, or not desiccant filter, sorry, desiccant storage. And then what you can do is you can take the front one out, and then that allows you to remove them and to be able to refill them again, or to recharge them without having to take all of the filament out. So I really liked that design. So you just slot that first one in, and then you slot the back one in, and you're good to go. Here on the inside of the spool is I've printed another desiccant holder into that fits into all of these spools. So you can see there that I've got one on that spool as well. Filled that up with desiccant just to keep it nice and dry in here. And I tell you what, it's quite amazing the differences that you see in the prints. You don't get the stringing, you don't get the oozing and all of those problems. I think that it's worthwhile to just go through and do that. Now, the other thing that I also did was I did a nice cover here for the LCD screen on the front of the printer. And there's just, you probably can't see them there, but there's little notches in this to allow it to just sort of have not really a pressure fit, but just so that it doesn't come off. And I think that this is really good. I actually customized it. This particular file, you can go into the slicer and you can put in whatever text you want. So I've got my amateur radio call sign and P2S there as well. And oh look, yep, 40%. I've ruined my I've ruined my humidity, but that's okay. Now, the other thing that I showed in the previous video was this riser, which I printed. So this has vents in it as well that I can open up when I want to cool things. Now, the good thing about this riser is that, and the reason why I did it, was the PTFE tube there in the top, without it, used to rub along the top of the glass here of the printer. Now that was, I didn't want this to wear away, and I also didn't want the glass to be scratched. So that was the main thing. But I've actually found that the benefit has been much better in the fact that you can print these tubs here. So not just tubs, but you can have other tool holders here in the side. There's lots of different ones that you can print. And then that just sort of sits on the side and makes a nice little neat solution. So what I've got is I've just got some like scrap material in here that I've used in this one. And then what I can do is I can just empty that out. Obviously I can have a bin, so I can put other things in here as well. I've got a scraper that I 3D printed and some other tool bits. The other thing I've got in here too is just a gauge to be able to see how much filament is left on a roll. And I believe this only works well accurately with the Bambu ones. You basically put that on the top of the roll and then you measure how much is left. And then you can use that in conjunction with how much is estimated weight-wise in there. Now, I've mentioned a lot about desiccant. This is the one that I purchased. This is available on Amazon. This is the rechargeable stuff. You basically put it in the microwave or the oven when it wears itself out, when it goes green. Now, in the previous video, I was showing that I had some bags, some storage bags coming, and they did indeed arrive. Some of it I have put in these bags. They come with this pump. You can get these from AliExpress, and you can pump the air out of the bags and seal it up, which is really good because you keep your filament nice and dry. There's a bit of silica gel there in the middle, and then that sort of saves the moisture getting in. I did find though that there was one problem in doing this, because I was constantly changing my filament back and forth all over the place because I had heaps of projects going on. So I was sealing these bags and then I was reopening them again really quickly. And the problem is that if you get any kind of split in this bag, or maybe a piece of your filament is there on the edge, or a sharp piece and it goes through the bag, and then you try to reseal it, it just doesn't work because the air goes out of it. Whilst it works if you've got long-term storage, it doesn't really work that well if you're constantly using filament all the time. So then I came across this storage solution. These are 4-litre cereal containers. You can get these off of Amazon as well. They very nicely fit the filament roll. And then some people have even managed to 3D print in the lids these little desiccant holders that just pop into the top of the lid there. And in this case, I've also got a humidity meter or hydrometer, which I got from a friend of mine. Basically, that slots into there. You can get these off of AliExpress as well. I've got a few more of these coming. You can show what particular material this is, and then you can measure the humidity and you can monitor that, and it keeps it nice and easy and dry. And again, if I want to use this filament, it's really easy. I just open up the box, I take it out, and then I put the other one in. I'm going to reprint these in a clear filament type, just so that I can see the desiccant and when it actually needs recharging again. They do take up slightly more room, but they just seem a lot neater and a better solution to me. So I've got a total of 157 hours so far on this machine. A lot of it has been sort of these improvements to the machine. You don't have to do this. It will work straight out the box. You don't need to print like the riser and all this other sort of stuff. But it's kind of cool because you learn a little bit more about the printer, about the process and how to use the slicer and everything like that. Now I haven't covered that on this channel yet, so let me know in the comments below if you want to see a video on using the Bambu slicer. I'm still learning quite a bit here at the moment, but there's quite a lot that I've done in that time and have been experimenting with. So yeah, let me know if you want to see a video about that. Now, to follow along with my 3D printing journey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I did a video on the first 75 hours of this machine and the essential prints that you need to do and the settings that you need to know in this video over here.